afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, now that the interview season is going to start, we'll have the interviews of all the IIMs in a few days, starting in a few days. So, how do you think should be the approach of the aspirants, and how should they prepare for the interview?
Well, there are three things that we normally expect of a candidate. First thing is he should brush up on his domain knowledge, subject knowledge. There should be a general awareness of what's happening in the world, in the country, in the industry. And as far as communication is concerned, I don't think the candidate needs to worry too much that he's not speaking English that is grammatically correct, or he's not choosing words that are bombastic. In fact, he should not be choosing words of that kind. I think the one quality that we would look for is genuineness, maybe. I understand that the candidates are under tremendous pressure, so they try doubly hard to impress the panel. That's not really a very good idea. There are some standard questions. For instance, the candidate may be asked, tell us something about yourself. I've always felt that things that are already there in the CV or in the SOP, unless you are specifically asked certain questions regarding your CV, you should not be repeating the same things. There are so many other aspects of a candidate's personality that we may have no clue about. I mean, what are the things that he would want us to know over and above what is there in the CV? Even with regard to the SOP, I always feel that many of the candidates don't write the SOPs themselves. There is so much of pomposity in the kind of quotations they select. There seems to be a standard format that they follow. They start off with some inspirational quote and they say that this is what I have always believed in. We have this sense of deja vu, we've seen all this, we've heard this. I think I'd like to reiterate once again, somebody who's candid, about as honest as he can possibly get, and somebody who's not trying to fake it. If you know something, and you ought to know enough about your subject, whatever it is that you've studied. I mean, so very often we find that candidates claim that they are from X or Y or Z branch of engineering, but when questions are put to them, they know nothing. So as I said earlier, I think you need to know what you have studied. Better brush up on.
There could be some people who are very good in the technical domain. They have that technical knowledge, but they might not be able to communicate well. They lack in soft skills somewhere. So how do you think?
When you say soft skills, do you mean their command of the language?
Command of the language.
In this case, do you mean that?
Yes, and apart from that, also how they present themselves in front of the panel.
I think what we would expect of a candidate is to be neatly attired. We don't necessarily want them to conform to some preconceived notion of what a prospective MBA grad should look like. And then again, I don't think there is any typical manner in which an IIM grad should speak. To give you an example, if you're really passionate about something and you're asked a question and you know your stuff really well, I think everything else takes a backseat and you communicate effectively. Even if your grammar is flawed. We're not really looking for people who have flawless spoken English. But yes, it does help if the candidate has knowledge of the basics of the English language. So if people are overly concerned about their communication skills, I would suggest to them, not to be stressed out, at least not in this regard. It's not a good idea to pretend to know. Sometimes when we ask a candidate, so what do you read? Or do you read at all? I prefer it if the candidate were to say, no, I don't read. Because there are some who, maybe they have been trained this way in the coaching classes that they go to. They say, I've read this and I've read that. And then when further questions are asked, they know nothing, or what little they know is a summary that they have been asked to mug up, a summary of a well-known book. And time and again we hear the same stuff from the candidates. You can well imagine that doesn't really cut ice, yes. So, I think candor is refreshing. Pretense is off-putting. We don't want them to make tall claims in their SOPs or in their CVs. I guess I would come back to what I had said earlier. Just be yourself, just be honest, be confident. But there's a very thin line separating confidence from overconfidence. Sometimes because they are so insecure, because they are battling against nervousness, they come across as extremely boastful and make false claims. That is problematic.
So do you think this is because of the pressure that they're facing at that point of time?
Definitely. I spoke of that earlier. We understand that they are under tremendous pressure. And I have said this umpteen times. Maybe you should not look upon any interview as the be-all and end-all of your life. Prepare by all means. Be as thoroughly prepared as you can. But at the same time, just tell yourself that this is not going to be a test of my worth. I am good. I know that. I am good in certain ways. And in certain other ways, I will get better and better. But if you pin all your hopes on one interview, you are likely to get very nervous. And that does not bode very well for you. You may say the wrong things. You may actually fail to impress your panelists, fail to impress the panelists.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your time. I hope this interview will be very useful for the aspirants and